Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to my channel, CeeLo's Fishing. Today I'm actually going to be working on something a little bit different. I've watched so many YouTube videos on how to do this process, and just so you guys know, your discretion is advised. What I have in this bag here is my brother's first white-tailed buck head. And then I have my doe head in here. And what we're gonna be doing, or what I'm gonna be doing, I'm just trying to make some European skull mounts. So if you wanna tag along, I'll show you the heads right now. Here you go, guys. That's the buck head that I'll be working on. It's a nice little 8-pointer here. Go ahead and get all this stuff defleshed, skinned, and get it down as fast as possible to the bare skull. I'll do the same thing with the doe. And then I'll show you guys when I have them to that stage. All right, guys, so far we got him skinned. Still got to remove the eyeballs. I'm just trying to, he's over here munching out. Chris just came out here. He was eating, but he's still apparently snacking over here. Like I said, I don't want to show y'all everything because I don't want it to be too gruesome and then YouTube bans the video or something crazy. So that's step 2 so far. Next step is remove the jaw, pop the eyeballs out, and work all this flesh off. We'll be back when I got it cleaner. All right, guys, so we got both of them done. This is all the trash we got off of them. That's like the hide and just meat we could pull off. It's getting kind of late, so we're just gonna go ahead and find the stopping point here. But basically removed the eyeballs, pretty much took off all of the hide, removed the bottom jaws. I know a lot of people will keep the bottom jaws to do different projects with. I'm just not gonna keep those. We're only gonna use the tops. So that's Chris's buck here. And this is my doe. The doe I found was way easier to go ahead and pull off and stuff. And then also earlier in that clip before, we thought Chris's buck ended here, but it turns out it was the neck vertebrae, so we popped that off. And now it actually sits more flush like this. Popped her eyes off too and everything. So now we're just gonna take them over here. Chris filled a bucket of water. We're gonna go ahead and dump these guys in here for the night. And I'm gonna go inside and grab some Dawn dish soap. You're gonna want all the air bubbles to get out like that. And basically the Dawn dish soap, what it's gonna do is it's gonna help get all the grease off of it. That was the fleshing process, and let me tell you, it took us longer than I thought, but that's also because they were frozen solid. So now if they're in there, I'm gonna go get some Dawn dish soap, put some squirts of it in there, try to help pull some of that grease off. It's also gonna rehydrate a lot of that tissue, a lot of that meat. And then tomorrow, when I boil it tomorrow for a while, a couple hours, then that will come off, and then we'll just take our water hose with the high pressure and also try to spray a lot of it off, pick some of it off, try to get all the cartilage out of the nostrils out. And then we'll reboil it until we get it to where we basically have a clean skull with no brains, no meat, no flesh, nothing like that, because if you do, then you'll start having them stinking. All right, guys, so it is now the second day, and I've already got the little setup here. Got the pot. I'll show you guys in a little bit. I'll turn it around, but I got the setup, situated the deer heads in there. Got the buck and the doe in there for now, but I basically situated so where the nose bone's not really touching the wall of that pot. Let me turn it around so I can show you guys how I have it. But basically, the solution is just water and soap. That's all it is. And it's not really a full boil. It's more of a simmer for a couple hours. So this is how I have it. I just threw a piece of metal there, guys, just to kind of hold the deer by the antlers. You can see he's pretty much submerged there. And I'm trying to show you the nose, but that's his nose bone there. It's not touching the wall. And then the doe is tending to want to float a lot. So I kind of tucked her up underneath that whitetail buck there to help her nose stay down, and she's also not touching the walls. Like I said, I just turned this on, so I'm gonna monitor it. Once it gets to the boiling, I'm gonna lower it because I don't want it to be a hard boil. You risk, from what I've heard or from what I researched, you risk breaking those nose bones because they're fragile and more thin. So I don't want it to be a hard rolling boil. It's gonna be more of a simmer for a couple hours. Then I'll come out here, check them out again, and then at that point I will use the water hose with the strong jet on the end of it to try to blast a lot of that gunk off. And then if I still can't get it all the way off, I'll put them back in there for a little bit longer, pretty much, guys. All right, guys, so after quite a bit of boiling, This is what he now looks like. I brought him into my kitchen sink, and I've been picking at him with some forceps, trying to get some stuff out of the nose. They're starting to clean up pretty good, guys, as you can tell. Really got a little bit of stuff left up in that nostril that I gotta boil out. And then I got a whole, the brain is still in there, but the bottom of the mouth is pretty good, and that nose bone is still intact. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this to boil back up again, and see if we can come back and get all that rest of that meat off of them, guys. All right, guys, so this is so far what they look like, the Dole Skull here. This morning, after they dried out pretty much all night, I went back through and pretty much sectioned parts of their faces. I picked some more of the fat stuff. Still got a little bit right there. They feel a little bit oily, not too bad, but I really try to clean the inside of that, which looks really clean now. Alright guys, so here's the deer skull, and the doe is back there. I actually glued the nose pieces back right here. This piece fell off, so I glued it here along the seam. Placed this band here just to kind of keep it together so it wouldn't split right here. And then we glued this nose bone here and this one here on the sides. And then I'll go ahead and just kind of tilt it back, show you guys. And then we also applied a bit of glue. There's some cracks that were right here, so we applied a bit of glue there and then right up in here, just to kind of give it some more of that sturdiness, and hopefully it wouldn't break apart in the future. But next is going to be the whitening solution that we're going to be using, and I'm going to be using this 40 volume cream peroxide developer, and I just bought this off of Amazon. I'll actually put a link down below if you want to use this. But what I'm going to do first before I apply this is, so that we don't lose any color here on the antlers here, I'm going to take some saran wrap and we're going to wrap it really firmly down here from the burrs all the way up to about here. And then I'm going to use electrical tape to really press it in up against the burrs so that when I apply the developer, it does not mess up that color, guys. So let me go ahead and wrap these antlers, and then I'll be right back once they're wrapped. All right, guys, so I pretty much got it wrapped here. Put some electrical tape to kind of protect the burrs. I really pressed it down on the burr there, so that way the developer can't get over it. Got some developer here in this cup here with the little paintbrush. We're gonna apply it pretty liberally all over this. If you want your teeth whitened, go ahead and apply it to the teeth. And then once it's fully on there, I'm gonna go ahead and saran wrap the whole skull. And then we're gonna place it on the shelf there so that for 24 hours. And then tomorrow we'll unwrap it again and we'll rinse all the developer off. And if it's white enough to where we like it, we'll leave it there. And if it's not, we'll just apply another coat of developer, do the same step over again, and until we get it to the whiteness we want it to. But let's go ahead and apply this developer real quick. All right, guys, so I've applied the developer all around it, pretty much in every single crevice, and I was very liberal with it. Now we're just gonna go ahead and wrap the whole skull. All right, guys, so I've applied the developer on the buck and the doe skull here. The doe was obviously a little bit easier because there's no antlers to it, so there's not much you have to do besides apply the developer and wrap it. All right, guys, so tomorrow we'll rinse these off, and if they're white enough, we'll leave them alone. If they're not, we'll apply some more and rewrap. And then I'll just have to apply one coat of Mop and Glow on the antlers and both of the skulls completely, and that's gonna give them more of a protective shine to them. So that way you don't have to dust them as often once you have them up on your wall. So we'll see what they look like in 24 hours, guys. we just unwrapped this buck. He looks pretty good, but we're just gonna rinse him off. Make sure you want to get all of that developer off of him, guys, and then we'll see what it looks like when we get inside. But he looks really good, huh, Chris?
Yeah, actually, it's really good, bro.
So I'll get it rinsed off, guys, and then I'll show you guys inside a little bit what they look like. All right, guys, so here's the skulls after 24 hours of sitting with that developer. We took them outside, unwrapped them, and we rinsed them off. Here's the dough. Looks really good. I'm happy with the whiteness of this, so I'm not going to be applying another coat. As you can tell from my first time, I did mess up my dough skull here a little bit when I was popping those earplugs out. And then a little bit of a blowout over here on this nasal stuff here. And then here is my brother's buck. We rinsed him out too. His nasal cavities are really, really good actually. And he doesn't want to apply another coat of this. So we're gonna let these dry overnight. And then tomorrow, sometime in the afternoon, I'm going to apply a coat of Mop and Glow. It's gonna apply all over the skull, all over the antlers. Pretty much the same way I applied the other chemical that I applied on here for the whitening solution, the developer. And then what this is going to do, it's going to give them like a shiny finish to them. Not too shiny, but it's just gonna give them just enough shine, and then it's gonna make it easier so that way you don't have to dust these as much in the future, and that dust won't settle into the bone itself. So it's gonna protect it against dust. It's just gonna make them last a lot longer. So overall, we're really happy with the product and the outcome of this so far. For my first time making some European mints, I think I did really good. We also didn't experience a lot of color loss on these antlers. All right, guys, so like I said, these are the finished skulls. I will be adding a coat of Mop and Glow on them with this brush. Just gonna apply it like I did the developer. But Mop and Glow is just more of a protective coat. It is gonna give it a slight sheen to it, a little slight shine to it, but it will make it much easier when it comes to cleaning your skull mounts, so you won't have to dust them as often. I am gonna apply it all over the antlers, pretty much every crevice on these skulls. So I'll show you that here in a little bit, guys. Just gonna go ahead and start with the Mop and Glow. Just give it a nice little coat, guys. All right, so now it's time to let them dry overnight, and tomorrow we will see the finished product of the deer skulls. But anyways, guys, what everyone's here is for, we'll leave the buck for last, and I'm gonna go ahead and just show you guys the doe skull first. The lighting here does not do it justice, but this thing is purely my first doe I ever shot with a bow. And that, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I am hooked on bow hunting now, so hopefully many more adventures. But anyways, guys, I do want to show you guys some of the damage that I've caused. As you can tell here on this nasal cavity, you can kind of see clean across. This is the same on this side. Some of those nasal cavity bones were fragile and they kind of broke. And if you start looking around, you'll see a little bit, like there's a little bit of a crack there, where just the skull was so fragile. And then right in there. I also think I did kind of boil these for a little too long. But honestly, I'm still happy with the outcome, especially for these being my first ever European mounts. So there's the doe, very special one to me. And then here's my brother's first buck, dude. We're sitting in that blind, man. And he's seen it come out first onto the field that was planted. And he thought it was a doe, but then I was like, normally does aren't lone. So we put the binoculars on it, and sure enough, it was a buck. This was it, guys. This was his buck. I am very happy with how this turned out. Apply the Mop and Glow, and the same thing is nice and white, guys. Now this one, remember, guys, the nose bones had broken off when I boiled, and one of these top ones had fallen off. So we actually glued that back together, and it's definitely holding really good. But I am very happy with these. how they turned out, and I am gonna show you guys the comparison or what made me want to do this. I'll show you guys my first buck. Let me go grab him real quick. All right, guys, so this is my first buck ever right here, guys. This was one that I shot out there. He's so funky. We call him Ellie because he has a funky side here. And then he's got this weird thing on his burr down here growing off his antler. So we think he must have heard it when he was growing them out, and that's what caused this one to just grow funky. But this one was one that my first buck ever, and I actually got this one professionally done. I actually paid for this European mount itself, and honestly, taking them in comparison, I don't think I did have bad for my first couple. Now keep in mind that this one is sparkly clean, just because I'm sure whoever did it, I'm sure the guy that did it for me had a pressure washer and stuff like that. And this is what I'm planning to use on those two skulls there, so I can mount them and display them on the wall. But this was my first ever buck. That's pretty much it, guys. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the outcome of the skull mounts that I made. And I think it's a good way to honor the animals that gave us the opportunity to harvest them, and we used the meat for good use. We ate the meat, fed some friends and families with it, and check it out, guys. Nice way to honor them, put them on the wall. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching the video. If you guys have done a DIY mount like this, please comment down in the video below in the comments. Let me know what you think, or if you guys use any other products other than that Mop and Glow to finish them off, or if you guys use some sort of developer that I didn't use. If you guys use something else that you think is better, comment that down below as well. I'm looking forward to making more of these. If you like this kind of video, comment that down below as well. That way I keep in mind, so next time I do go hunting, if I do harvest an animal, I can kind of walk this through. But this honestly, guys, has kind of got me hooked on the taxidermy style of things. So my plan for next season is, if I do manage to harvest a deer, is I'm going to try to learn how to tan the hides. That's a whole video in itself, and that is just in the plans, you know. It's, if it happens, it happens, but I would like to learn how to do that, guys. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Y'all have a great day. Keep on making those memories, guys.